We left off on step 5. We just ran the student tester and seen the default seat number, -1, and then the names of our two students so far, John Doe and Jane Chen. So we filled in those blanks, and then our answers on this number 4 will be different, but just realize it's garbage. Okay? We don't want to see the name of the class and an @ symbol and more garbage. We want to see something like their seat number and their name. Again, I'm going really fast on these because this is a lengthy assignment from class today, and most kids did not get done. So I'm going to go really fast on this. Just pause it when you need to. I'm on number 6 in the student class. Add a constructor that takes a string and an int. In the student class, add a constructor that takes a string and an int. So in the student class, we have an empty parenthesis constructor that's called the default constructor. We have one that takes a string. Now we have to write one that takes a string and an int. So name is n and seat equals s. And that's number 6. Add this thing here to the tester to make sure it works. Pilot. Okay, so Blue Jay likes it. And run it. And the common mistake here is kids see a null for one of their names, N-U-L-L. If you see a null for one of your names, what you didn't do was initialize the name in one of your constructors. So if I didn't say name equals n here, for example, in that one, then I will have a null on the screen for the student who we create with that string constructor. Okay, so if you have a null on the screen, and that was common, don't feel bad, but just get it fixed. Look where you didn't initialize name correctly. Okay, or the worst kind of mistake is you name this the same thing as your variable, right? My variable up here is called name. If you call this one name also, then you're going to do something crazy like this, which makes no sense ever. And now we run it again. And it gets still null. Okay, Blue Jay does not know which name is on which side of the assignment operator here. It doesn't know. So don't name variables, different variables with the same name. It's just going to come back to bite you. Okay. What's the next step here? So that's number 6. Number 7, in the student class, add a get last name and get first name method and change the toString method in the student class. The tester's output is now the following. So it was -1 dash Doe comma John, right? And -1 dash Chen comma Jane and 21 dash Lee comma Bill. But now you want to do it the conventional way with first name first, last name last. So it said make a get first name and make a get last name. Like on the AP exam, the toString method, I think, always comes last. It's the last method of all the classes they have. So you don't want to surprise yourself in May on the AP exam by doing something different all year long and seeing them do it a different way. Anyway, public string get last name. And so the last name is first right now, right? Up here in the instance field, this name is always of the format so far, last, comma, first. So the last name is a substring before the comma. Got it? You got to have that. You got to see that. The last name is a substring before the comma. What's the first name? It's a substring after the space. That's what I'll use. I'll find the comma, when I get the last name, and I'll find the space when I get the first name. Other ways to do it that are wonderful, but just make sure you understand and practice your way. So last name is before the comma, so I'll just call it comma. Name.index of the comma. I'll put a space in there anywhere, and then return the substring before the comma. Likewise, public string get first name. Okay. Now, I mean, you could say it's 2 spaces after the comma and find the comma again, but it's right after the space, so I'll use space this time. In space. So it starts at position space plus 1. It starts at the position after the space. So space plus 1 is where I want to start that substring at. Change the toString method in the student class so the tester's output is now like that. So I have to get the first name first and last name second. So plus, and this was a common mistake. Some of my A+ kids had their hand up in the air for this part. Get first name. That's all you do to call it. It's in the same class you're in now. We don't have to use name dot or student dot or anything dot because we're in this class where get first name resides. We're in there. Okay. And then I guess put a space between the names and get last name. Pilot. Looks good. And there it is. So I got the first name first, last name last. Okay, let me try and maybe do one more step here. That's step 7. Step 8 says, step 8 says, a roster the list of students, create a class named roster. There it is. And a roster consists of a student array, and I guess maybe the most common mistake all day long was students would put private string array up here. Okay? I don't know what you recalled it, my list, whatever. But they made it type string. It doesn't say that a roster is a string array. A roster is a student array. This was mistake number 1 in class today. It's great we did it, especially if we learn from mistakes. It's just fantastic to make that mistake. It really is. And then fix it and say, aha, I see it. And an int the roster size. So private int size, just an int. Add a constructor, public roster, that takes a student array. So I called the one in the instance field my list. I'll call this one just list. And now what's it do? It should initialize both instance fields. So obviously my list equals list. And now what about this size thing? Remember size is the size of a roster. Our roster is just a student array up there. So say size equals, you can go mylist.size, length, mylist.length. Can't type. Or you could say list.length. Either one has the same length. It doesn't matter. Okay. I think the AP exam might prefer mylist.length, but I'm guessing. It doesn't matter. Okay. Compile it. And then we're going to create a class named roster tester. Okay. I got it started. And in the main, put the following code, this long array of type student. Take a second at home tonight to look at that array and see how I made that. I know you were rushing in class, that's fine. But tonight, take a breath and take a look at that code. Okay. Anything else to add? No. Add a get size method to the roster. Let's make sure everything compiles here, I guess. Compile. Great. Okay. Add get size to the roster class. So I'm going to return the value of the size instance field. Public int get size. Return size. Okay, that's step 2. Step 3 says add the following statement to the roster tester. So we create our roster. I'll add the following statements, plural. I'll cheat and copy and paste here. Those 2 statements. And then run roster tester, and what's the output? Let's see, so put this right here. Oops. Compile it. Please compile. Yes, it does. Run it. And it just shows the size. There's 31 kids in this roster. This is my 0 period class. All the names of my kids in 0 period. And it shows there's 31 kids there. Add a toString to the roster class. So public string toString, empty parentheses every single time. Nothing else but that. Don't put void. Don't name it something besides toString exactly. That's what it always is. It says return a string with 1 student per line using enhanced for loop. So we have to build a string and return it. If this is my AP exam question, they have me write a toString method like this. And here's what I do exactly. I say string result, or whatever you want, string R, string answer, whatever. I get the empty space for now, empty string for now, and then return result, and then do the nasty part here. The more difficult, challenging part is the loop, no doubt. It says use an enhanced loop to go through our list of students. Our list of students is called myList. Okay, and so it's type student. So before the colon goes a student variable, and after the colon, to the right of the colon, goes the name of the array you're going through. And result plus equals S. Now, this is actually calling the toString method in the student class. That's how easy it is to use that. You don't even realize what you're doing there, but you're using the toString method of the student class. So S plus, it says to do them 1 per line, so you got to put a /n there to make it do that. All right. So this compile. I'm missing a brace someplace. I forgot my loop brace. Right there. Compile it. Good. And roster tester. Did we test it yet? I forgot. No, we didn't test the toString yet. Out.println P0. That's how it says to test it. And number 4. I think this is my longest video of the year. So compile it, run it, and you see all the default seat numbers -1, followed by all 31 of Mr. Reiske's kids in 0 period. I better pause there and upload.